Alrighty then. Hello everyone. I just woke up. I've just realised we're just in time for another AT. I'm going to be Oceanic Prime again. I'm going to practice again. Well, I also have kind of a crazy, weird, potentially train wreck of an idea for the pre-game lobbies based on some discussions I had with another caster on the scene, Georgia. So, I really want to try it out. Let me find the double-click toggler. There we go. I really want to try it out. This could be terrible. This could be an utter wreck, okay? But we're going to use this here. I'll show you more of that in a second. Let's log in. Let's see exactly how long it's going to take for the tourney to go live. I think we're probably about 7 or 8 minutes away from the start. I think, anyway. I literally just woke up. I started browsing the internet on my laptop in bed before getting up for the day. I logged in on the laptop and realized that the tourney was about to start. Yeah, 7 minutes. Okay, brilliant. So, enrollment's open. I don't necessarily expect any of you guys to get in time, but maybe you can go to LFG and try it out. I don't expect the tournament to be too good. Yesterday's Oceanic was pretty rubbish, frankly, and I mean, what day of the week is it? It's Friday, so maybe people half-day Fridays, we might see that there's something more going on here. But yeah, I mostly just want to pilot this pre-game lobby idea. So I'm going to just quickly pour my coffee, and I'll be back. I'm not going to super describe what it is I have in mind. I really want you guys to just watch this, experience the stream as I give it to you, and just let me know how you feel watching it, how interpretable it is, how messy it feels, all of that kind of stuff. Did I change the team bars? What do you mean? Not really. Maybe the icon sizes are slightly different since yesterday's stream, maybe, but I don't remember changing them. That's what they were yesterday. Unless you missed yesterday's stream, Admines. I can't remember whether you were there yesterday. But yeah, this is new, these team bars. But that's old news. That's like, you know, 18 hours old now. We got new, bigger, more interesting things going on. So yeah, I will be back very shortly, guys. Please do stick about and just tell me how you feel about this very weird idea that I've got. And we'll see how it goes. I know not many of you will be around, so I'm looking forward to comments from as few of you as there are. So I'll see you soon. Alright, I'm back. Alright, hello. We are back. We are good to go. We're live. So, let's see how long we've got till the start here. So, basically, guys, the beginning of any monthly, so we've got 3 minutes till it starts. The beginning of my prototype thing starts now, really, right? And it would be just before the start of the monthly. So listen up, and again, if you're here right now, I really want to hear, you know, if you get the full picture, I really want to hear how you like interpret this as it goes forward. So before the games begin, basically, I would throw some mini videos out describing various aspects of Conquest, basics on the maps, basics on things. One of the things that I would describe as a mini video. Hey, thanks for the sub there, Lexu. Didn't you already share this yesterday? Did you sub yesterday? I don't know. Anyway, so we've only got 3 minutes here. Thank you very much, Lexu. It's great to see you. So basically, one of the things I would describe is the idea that there are loose roles in Conquest. They are not hard and fast definitions, but there are, based on the build you're playing, it defines your play style and the kind of things that you do. And the very strong teams have compositions amongst their party that mix several of those roles in, okay? So, and this would be a video, what I'm describing right now, and it would have fancy graphics and it would show things off. But so I am purporting that there are 4 different roles in Guild Wars 2 Conquest, really. The builds will accomplish one of 4 things. And you're going to see each team has one of those. There's 5 slots in a party, 4 roles to cover. So one of those roles is going to get doubled up because you get 5 slots. So you can cover each of them and then you can double up. And depending on which one you double up, that's where compositions get fairly interesting. So I propose that the 4 roles of this, we have the support, which is like the meta version of that right now is Firebrand support. On Mender's Amulet. These people are responsible for boon spamming, resustaining their allies, damage mitigation, creating opportunities for their damage dealers through CC. Okay, so you've got the support. You've got the team fighters. And team fighters come in a few different flavors. There are sort of bruisery, more well-rounded team fighters. Like Chronos and Conversion Hollows, okay? Or even the Tools Hollows, Iron-Blooded Hollows. But then there's also, you know, hard and fast team fighters that are just damage carries that need a lot of support to sustain themselves, such as Scourge. A Scourge on a Deadshot Amulet, for example, would be a team fight DPS carry, okay? So you've got team fighters, which would be bruisers, and those you got supports. And there are 2 other roles. There are duelists, people who push to the sides and attempt to win 1v1s and stay alive in 1vx, okay? That's duelists. And lastly, you have roamers, people who flit around from node to node, offering +1s, scoring neutralizations, and generally speaking, skirmishing the maps. 4 roles: the roamer, the duelist, the support, the team fighter, okay? And so when we get into the game here, when we see who's playing, we're going to check out exactly what each team has of those 4, and we're going to match them up, okay? So the prototype here is for Balthazar's Brawl here today, guys. When we get into the pre-game lobby, we're going to break down the compositions of the teams into those loose 4 categories. And again, they're loose categories. It's not that one build can only function in one capacity. For example, a Deadshot Scourge can actually do reasonably well on sides, but it excels most in the team fight, where it has ridiculous AoE damage capacity and so on, right? So what I am not looking for is some kind of ridiculous debate where you try to where it's unnecessary, that undermines the idea of the role designations. The role designations aren't there to be a hard and fast descriptor of the scene. They're there to provide a baseline bedrock insight for new players to understand, generally speaking, how the teams are working. It's to create more clarity for new players instead of just thinking it's a clusterfuck everywhere. It's not. So you're going to be tempted to debate the validity of every single little one. That's not what I want to do here, okay? So yeah, looking at the teams, there's not a single guild team. Feels bad, man. Let's just watch the death per group up here. I have only 90 seconds to do what I'm going to try and do here. So I'm not going to look at chat. I'm just going to, like, try. And we'll see whether the 90 seconds works out, okay? AWP, I didn't play since Path of Fire release, and I bought it and played 1 month-ish. Any advice on coming back? What to do? What to focus on? Just, wait, you didn't play Guild Wars 2 since Path of Fire's release? You only played for a month at Path of Fire. Why? Why would you leave after a single month? That's ridiculous. Well, play the new episodes, man. Play Daybreak and play, A Bug in the System, at the very least. The campaign is probably about 60% longer than it was at launch already, just because of those 2 releases. So I'd do those. What is the normal distribution of roles in a team? Like I say, there's 4 roles. 5 if you really want to get picky about the team fighting varieties, bruisers versus DPS carries. But there's 4 roles. You're probably going to see one of each, generally speaking. A good team will field, they will tick each of the boxes. And then they get to play around with a 5th. So you could go with a second bruiser to have a very well-rounded team. You could go with a second roamer to kind of gank people on the roads, like Mesmer Thief combo. You could go with a second team fighter for a very immobile, probably 2-cap team that like takes the team fights and really tries to win those. You probably don't go 2 supports. 2 supports isn't really a thing right now, but maybe one day it will be. All right, so the game begins. Let's have a look at what we are playing with, shall we, guys? So this is going to be a Forest of Niflheim game, starting off with the blue team since they've all already loaded in. We begin with a bursty greatsword Mesmer, it looks like. So basically, I would suggest... Hold on. So 2 of the players haven't loaded in just yet, but we don't have to worry too much about that. Oh no, I don't have my thing up. Already the fails. We're wasting valuable time here. We've already wasted 30 seconds. It's my bad though. This wouldn't actually happen because I've just messed up. So here we go. Let's see what we've got here. So, let's load everybody in. Did it screenshot? There you go. Okay, it did. Right. So starting with the blue team, we have a bursty greatsword Mesmer. So I would suggest that this is something of a roamer. Next on the blue team, we are looking at a druid. This is an avatar amulet druid, I believe we're looking at. No, it's Menders, but still. So he's more of a duelist. Looking next, they have a Scourge. This is a team fighter. So the Scourge would come up here as a DPS carry. They have a pistol Mesmer. So this is on Deadshot. So this is definitely a little bit more of a duelist. So we can rotate him into the duelist section as well. Probably they'll send 1 to close, 1 to far that we can see here. And lastly, we have on the blue team this Elementalist who is running Destroyer Amulet. This is a really weird Ellie build. I'm not actually sure where to place this. Let's say he's something of a bruiser, though. So that's how the blue team is looking. Reasonably well-rounded comp. You'll notice that they have no support. Let's hope they win. Now let's go into the game, I guess. So we only got 1 team done in time, but we'll see how they go. So Deathper, that was, we were watching there. And if I'd got red in time, you would have seen how the 2 comps matched up, right? Let's see how the opening splits go for blue. Blue pick up there close with their duelist Mesmer. They're being double aggressive. Instant spike going down. Sorry, over here at this node. Completely devastated. The red team has some major burst here, guys. They won that so fast that red now gets to rotate in and basically fight and even fight at mid, even though they pushed 2. So that's extreme damage that just came down. It might be that the Mesmer was really squishy as well. I can't remember what amulet they were on. So this is a terrible situation for Deathper right now. Toil and Trouble has done incredibly to just burst their way immediately into the fight, into the scene on this. They've got their close. Toil and Trouble got their far point, and now they can take a good fight over here at mid. You'll notice that Deathper do actually now safely reclaim after the full cap. They, Toil and Trouble just gave it up. But Deathper wiping here in mid as well now. Sir Burslot struggling to get out of mid. He's not got a valuable portal. So Toil and Trouble being absolutely devastated, right? Toil and Trouble does secure their close node. So this is the pistol Mesmer we were looking at, who got insta-burst a second ago. What amulet was he on again? It is Deadshot. He's probably actually more of a team fighter, actually. Looking at this. I mean, where's his cleanse and stuff? He's running Mower, though. This is not really a meta build, to be frank. So he goes down. Can Deathper manage to get the res? Blue team looking for a big res here. They have... oh, my God. Is it Scepter? He's Scepter with a Destroyer Amulet and Leadership Runes. Very weird off-meta builds here, guys. I'm not really sure what to say. But they do manage to get that boss, I think. Did they get the boss? Yes, they did get the boss and a cap. So it's not all doom and gloom for Deathper right now. But the blue team do have a long way to get back into the game. Looking over at their Mesmer at mid. They need to win this engagement somehow. He's running Signet of Illusions, and he's actually popping it to refresh his shatters. Distort with 0 clones out or illusions. Pretty gross, frankly. And he gets burst down. I see. So the burst actually landed because we're seeing on Toil and Trouble they're fielding a Fresh Air Ellie. So they're actually... The red team, if we'd got to their builds, we would have seen that the red team had Fresh Air Ellie Thief combo. And it would have been a little bit deadly there. Moving back towards Deathbear's close. They really don't have anything. You'll notice that their Scourge is unsupported here. Obviously, they're not fielding a formal support whatsoever. Ghastly Breach goes down. If this Thief tries to push in the Ghastly Breach, he did. Oh, so your Mesmer tried to push in it. He just instantly melted, which is ridiculous. He's going for a stomp instead of healing with the Sand Flare. He manages to get it. He got the double tap. I mean, that's pretty goddamn hype. But now Scourge is super outnumbered. He really needs to be kiting up round on the side of the node right now. Unfortunately, I think Deathper is struggling massively. Toil and Trouble, meanwhile, on the other side of the map, have been securing the boss. So they managed to kill this one over here. They managed to recap this close. We do have a Deathper Ranger furiously running, doing a marathon across the whole map, just trying to split Toil and Trouble up and take some kind of a 1v1. So here he's in his element. This is, of course, Mender's Druid. So he's just going to sustain this for days and hold it Newt, which is exactly really what the rest of his team needs. So here he's getting a plus coming in against him. Toil and Trouble coming with a burst. We saw that this DP Thief from Toil and Trouble hit Deathper's Mesmer really hard with the assistance of the Fresh Air Ellie. But now he's trying to plus a very sustainy Druid. So this is excellent, really, for Deathper. The first good play that they've managed to make. With him holding 2 of their attention for this long, it's very good. He needs to get this Troll Unguent. He tries to cast it in the stealth. He does manage to land it. He needs to kite. He needs to be way more flighty around the terrain right now, though. He gets a lot of pressure off. I mean, here you're looking at the strength of Druid, right? This is why they're so good at 1v1ing. He's got both of them so low in this 1v2. Look at this, the friggin' Wyvern knockback. He shadow steps out on 1% health. He's now been +2'd. It's time to get round here. Is he moving? Why did you stop? No, get off the node. Go round here. Oh, he could have made such a legendary play. Look at how low this Avatar Druid. So he's actually playing really well. But with all of that attention that Toil and Trouble had to put in on the Deathper Druid, what did Deathper get on the rest of the map? Well, finally they're starting to win this engagement. But you'll notice that as soon as they get these down states, watch this DP Thief come in now. Toil and Trouble, reinforcements landing in, rotating from the other side of the map, and immediately they're getting burst down. And wow, Deathper doesn't even get a single 2v4 before they are charged in and plus. So excellent game here from Toil and Trouble. And I think we can see Toil and Trouble actually go through to the next round. So in the meantime, let's have a little bit of a look at the builds that Toil and Trouble are fielding here. Just to see exactly how their comp matched up, right? So they do actually have a formal support. First of all, this is what we're currently looking at right now. It's a red Toil and Trouble Firebrand support. Moving on, they also have a Dueling Warrior here that you can see. So the Dueling Warrior running, probably picking up his close. So he would have technically been matched against the Druid on Deathbear's team. Next, they have the Fresh Air Ellie that we've been looking at. So Fresh Air Ellie is not a particularly good one, but it is a roamer, okay? It +1s, it does the good stuff. They also have a Mesmer, who runs around. I believe this was a bursty Mesmer. No, this was a Scepter Mesmer, so probably a little bit more of a duelist. So we can say that he went far. And lastly, they actually had a Thief. Okay, so the Thief was a roamer as well. So here you can actually see, now that the game is over, okay, that if anything, Red basically managed to sustain because they had a real support, I would say, versus none. And they just took it to the roads. I don't know, how do we interpret this? We can see that the Duelist probably played better. The Toil and Trouble Duelist played better than the Deathbear Duelist. You can see that roaming, that double roam combo. While Deathbear had 2 team fighters, Toil and Trouble had 2 roamers. And actually, you can see that matchup exactly. Saucy Lightning and Phenom Ramnisis, they blew up Cerberus a lot, didn't they? That's exactly what happened. So I really need a way to get a cursor on this screen, then I can show you some stuff, obviously. But in the Roamer box, you can see right at the start, they did exactly that. The support sustained the red team at their team fight and basically just secured all the other nodes through that. So that's what I think we saw. We saw that the blue Scourge couldn't really do anything because he didn't have anyone to help him sustain those fights. So there you go. That's the idea. And now we can go wait for the next queue. And what's really good about this now, guys, is 50% of these players are still going to be going through. So we just watched Toil and Trouble destroy, right? So we can go back, we can watch. So if we go back to PvP gameplay, we can go back to Toil and Trouble. There's two Toil and Troubles. I'm guessing it's this top one because the top game's always up here, right? So this Toil and Trouble team, when we watch them again, they're already on the board. So we can just match the other guys up. So I have an easier job now. The first round is a bit harder because we only get one team on the board in time, but the other ones should be a bit better. That Mez is running almost exactly the PvE Condi Mirage build. I mean, realistically, what actually happened there was we saw that Deathper had much worse piloting, right? All right, here we go. So we're in. I was about to take a sip of coffee. No coffee for me. So, what do we have? Deathper, Toil and Trouble are on the red team this time. They were on red team before as well. So we'll see that they do their big bursts here. Polka Dot Stingray isn't going to appear on our thing because he's not like... Oh, yeah, he is. That's fine. Okay, so let's quickly go visualize exactly how this is going here. So the red team should already be in position. Why are the red team bars not appearing here? Oh, hold on. I think I have to clear, and then I have to go back through. So, hold on, guys. Shit. Ah, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so hard. This can work. We just have to be very specific about it. So, hold on. So, here's the red team. Same setup. Meanwhile, they are fighting against the blue team. So, they have a dueling warrior who matches off probably on his close point. They have a firebrand support. So a support via support this time. They have a scrapper. I would actually call that more of a bruiser than anything else. So they've got a scrapper for the team fight. They've got a scourge team fighter for their DPS carry. And they have a roaming mesmer here. The build that the mesmer's running is greatsword, I think. Actually, he's Condi, but I'm pretty sure he's more roam-oriented. So there we can see how the two teams match up against each other. A lot more balanced this time. So it could swing either way, as far as I can read that. Let's go and take a look at the opening splits here. And we'll see how we do. We're going to be watching Toil and Trouble, as they start here. We're going to watch the Fresh Air Ellie as well. So Toil and Trouble taking good stealth blasts. This is excellent for their Fresh Air Ellie. They give him more than enough stealth and Bassi. This is going to be such a good opening here, guys. It's going to be so good. Watch this. Immediately blow up the Scrapper. The Scrapper survives. Thanks for the damage nerfs, ArenaNet. Can the Scrapper sustain? He can't. Moving straight back to mid, so Toil and Trouble taking that point very, very quickly. Can they sustain the mid fight in the mid fight in the meantime? God, terrible camera work. So this is Toil and Trouble fighting for the mid fight. You will notice as well, by the way, over at Toil and Trouble's close, they are actually in a warrior 1v1 that it looks like they are losing. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that continues to progress. Toil and Trouble support here, sustaining as best he can. So they got their really cheeky far point. Really weird, though. Instead of just looting it and swinging the mid-fight, their thief stayed for full cap. And what that means is he just immediately gets re-neutralized by the respawning Scrapper. Like, come on, this is these are kiddie rotations here, guys. So Toil and Trouble gets the lovely opening, but what value do they get from it? 4 points, I think we see them get from that. Not taking the easy neutralization from Toil and Trouble's Firebrand either here. Not even this guy's taking the easy neutralization. So we're seeing that the August Butchers are coming back very heavily here, just because I think Toil and Trouble didn't capitalize on their early victory, like, at all, really, here. You can see the support is sustaining against 3 players. It really comes down to see what his team does to give him pills. But meanwhile, they're more interested in taking out the opposing Condi Mirage. He goes for decap. Will he get it in time? It depends if Pad can get on the node. Pad does get on the node with that blink, so we're not going to see any opportunities come there from the Toil and Trouble roamer. Their support is still alive, though. He's still sort of standing around, but he doesn't own the node, right? So the August Butchers actually don't care about this anymore. Because, oh my god, they just give him free... What is this node play? Come on, guys, seriously now. So, Pad being aggressed by the Rampage. My God, why is our screen gone so red there? What the hell was that animation? That was absurd. He mitigates it fairly well. He doesn't seem to actually get any usage out of it. The Frenzy Bulls rush. I'm actually now noticing that Toil and Trouble has such an aggressive, like... Oh, no, he's not running Frenzy. Okay, I thought they were fielding DP, the Fresh Air Early Frenzy Bulls Rush Warrior, which would be very aggressive. Toil and Trouble finally making a play on far, securing their enemies' close nodes. But these Warrior 1v1s we talked about earlier, they are fully being lost now. God of Wind Trade only just pulling this through for the August Butchers, but Toil and Trouble does lose that engagement, and it looks like they're going to be basically losing it across the map here. They still sustain the mid-fight.
Blue team takes a capture point.
Toil and Trouble don't even manage to sustain this neutralization for very long. Let's see how their Roma deals, trying to unseat a duelist in the way of the enemy Mez. He kites up around the side. He's actually going sneaky here. He's in combat, though, so his opposing Mesmer can, in theory, know that this is going on. Let's see how bad the opposing Mesmer is. He just stands there, which is very good. This is the correct play from the Mesmer, because at the end of the day, you know... No, he's leaving! What a numpty! Ah! All that Toil and Trouble's Roma had to do there was just wait a second, because the Mesmer was not good enough to realize the in-combat. He takes easy neutralization in mid, as the Toil and Trouble Warrior rotates into this fight. So this could actually be a pretty fun fight here. We're looking at Duelist v Duelist, Condi Mirage on the Scepter versus Rampage Spellbreaker. He gets 0 value out of his full counter. Lots of Condi. Because he's fielding Bull's Rush instead of Featherfoot Grace, he takes extra pressure here. He might not be getting resistance on his full counters at all here, by the way. The World versus World backpack tells us that he is, of course, bad at the game, and so he goes down. It looks like Toil and Trouble is lost pretty much every matchup here. They're even being Lord pushed now. This is a very early Lord push. Let's see whether they can actually sustain it in any way. He's just AFK at base. It looks like we're going to see that Toil and Trouble goes down. So, there you have it. Let's go back to the pre-game lobby. I want to look at this a bit more. So... Did I get this right? So there is another thing that I kind of want to do, by the way, and I'm going to, like, set up. I think, you need an indication of which build I'm talking about at which time, which I can do either with a cursor or with highlighting. I think I'll need to do the highlighting route, which shouldn't be too bad, but I do think I'll need to do that. You can see which team we're looking at, right? Which build team we're looking at, because I've got the overlays there. But it really should light up on the board who we're looking at. It's clear at the start. But I do think I got the designations correct. So what kind of analysis can we do here? I'll tell you what might be good as well, actually. If I'm going to be coming to this window mid-game after we realise it's a slam dunk. So Lord is going through now, and August Butchers go through to the next round. I think what we'll see is maybe I could put a little window showing score for the game in action. And I wonder whether the trait window is good enough right now. But yeah, how does this feel, guys? Let's have a look at Polka Dot's build, right? So Polka Dot, Stingray. I currently have a duelist that was likely picking up going to far if he wanted to. I don't actually know how much I respect his build. He's running the Crystal Sands, right, on his utilities. He's running Scepter. I've not played this Mesmer build, so I don't know how dual it really is. It is more single target oriented, of course, because it's on Scepter, right? So maybe it's fair to call it a duelist straight away, especially if his weapons swap his staff. It is, right? So the Warlocks are fairly single target aggression. They can cleave through things, but they're not necessarily in the best way. So we have him set up as a duelist. And then the other duelist that I said that the August Butchers had, sorry, that Toil and Trouble had, was their warrior. So this being the warrior build here. And I mean, this is absolutely a duelist build. We can see him in Rampage here, by the way, guys. Oh no, you can't. The UI's just buggered up. So there you have it. Please give me feedback on whether this is worth a damn. We'll see how it feels to continue going with this. So yeah, that's the game over. We'll move on to the next round. We're going to be following the August Butchers as they progress into what I think is probably the semis or the finals already. I don't know. WP needs to up his over-the-top drama game. Hubble, bubble, toil, and trouble. Listen, I'm not going to overhype OCX, which does not seem like a very good time slot for the game right now. We'll have to see how things do in the future, but right now it does not seem like the greatest. So yeah, toil and trouble. What were they? They were the August Butchers. Looks like they're not ready for a game just yet, so we will sit around and wait to see when they next reappear. We can see how some of the other games go on Legacy. You think the roll screen soundtrack's a bit too loud? That's fine. I can cut that down. That's not a problem. It sounds like I'm calling them the August Bitches. Jesus Christ. Yeah, maybe. Alright, so we got another game in progress here. Hold on, let me just turn the volume down.
Red team
There you go. You just lost another 4 dB, so hopefully you're happy with that. So we got another game in progress on this one.
Blue team takes a capture point.
Who are we looking at? We're looking at Blackjack facing off against
Red team wins a capture point.
Allah Akbar Smith, Mistforge. Do I recognize any of these account names? Oh, Zarkon. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is actually probably a really good game. When I get a bit better at this, I'll know just like who is the good games to watch immediately off the start. This is probably the most competitive game that we'll actually see in this time slot. I think probably, and we've sort of missed the opening here. Shall we practice, like, setting up their rolls again? I kind of want to. Here, let's try this. Oh, God, and I'm messing that up a lot. So, what do we actually have? Let's start off looking at the red team. They've got a Scrapper. Sorry, no, he's Hollow. He's Conversion Hollow, so he's more of a Bruiser. They have Shiro Revenant, who I would definitely call more of a roamer right now. Yes, they're very DPS-oriented. You could put them in either of these slots. I'll say that they're a little bit more roam heavy for now, though. Moving on. We have a Demo Mesmer. The Demo Mesmer is absolutely a duelist. We've got Zarkon on Zerk Deadeye Thief. Jesus Christ. So the Zerk Deadeye action coming out here. Here he is. Sorry, I missed him. So he's also definitely roaming. Since they've got that, I would say that he's probably, the Rev is probably functioning more as a DPS carry. I don't know. Some people would say that Deadeye is more of a duelist, but hey. And then lastly, they have a Mender Amulet Druid, who is probably going to be pushing far a lot, right? So that's their comp. Meanwhile, they face off against another Druid. Sage's, Avatar Amulet. This is probably the matchup that we see here. We've got Blackjack actually playing support. We've got DP Thief. If ever I've been clear about a designation there, it's that one. This Mesmer's dead, but he's actually running Paladin. He's running the Chrono build. What do we call the Chrono build? Probably more of a bruiser, right? The Chrono build's pretty bruisery. Doesn't necessarily rotate that fast around. I mean, it has Portal and Blink, so it kind of does. But yeah, I would call that more of a bruiser, and definitely not a team fight carry. And are they actually doubling up? Sorry, what? Oh no. Now this is the last build is a duelist warrior as well, so he's probably like this. So really evenly matched actually. The fact that red team is winning this is quite powerful because what you're actually looking at is they're fielding a Rev instead of a support, and the Rev is basically accomplishing more. You can see how evenly matched everyone is, right? Like 2 bruiserish characters on each team. You can see that we've got several duelists that will be facing off on the points, roamers to rotate between them. The only difference is that these Chronos, this Chrono build maybe is accomplishing a bit more than that support. But yeah, they're a bit heavier on the team fight for the red team, and they're winning. Based on comp, I actually think that blue has the stronger composition here. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But yeah, so getting back to the game, with Beggars Bindle doing extremely well. And what are we looking at here? Just to be clear, we're looking at the Conversion Hollow. Sorry, Iron-Blooded Hollow? Iron-Blooded Hollow. Maybe I should just call it Hollow. He's actually being very aggressively plussed here. He manages to sustain it. We have another Warbringer. This time actually being played well. Yeah, okay, Valen, I agree. I'm very, very, very glad you said that, Valen, in chat. Because, yeah, like, it can win the 1v1s. But, again, my mindset with this is, where does the build excel more than anything else, right? So, we put Deadeye as a roamer because it excels most perching on ledges, sniping people from the edge, and then going to another node, and then sniping people from the edge, and just applying pressure to fights from the side, and then fleeing off the second it's aggressed. To me, that's a roamer. Yeah, it might have some 1v1 capacity, but so does Scourge. That doesn't mean it's still not excelling as a DPS carry, right? So, like, that's the idea. Where does it excel most? I think as long as I tunnel into that line of reasoning, it becomes, like, more cut and dry, which goes where kind of thing, if we're going to do these designations. So, let's actually try casting this, since they came back into it a little bit. If we're going to see that Ranger Danger actually secures the win on this game, Ranger Danger is going to have to make plays across the entire map, and they're going to have to get themselves to 350 points before Beggars Bindle, the red team, gets their next 70. To accomplish that, this DP Thief is currently acting as a team fighter, okay? You can see the DP Thief is getting support from his Firebrand, and he's actually being asked to kill a Rev and a Druid. But the Druid is resustaining it very well. This is kind of gross, honestly. This Thief, in my opinion, should rotate off and just let Blackjack tank this and hold it neutralization. And the Thief realistically could have come and plus this engagement to stop the Beggars Bindle securing it, or this engagement to help his Druid get onto this node here and score a decap. That's what I would have liked to have seen. With the 2 decaps, they maybe then could have aggressed somehow and gone to Lords. Without that happening, and with this player /sitting, I think we see the Beggars Bindle go through to the next round. Why did I put Rev and DPS? It begins. People are just going to want to debate which is in which box. For this game, if you were watching the stream, I originally did have it as a roamer, and I believe that they are very roam heavy. I did have it as a roamer, but in this composition, I believe that Beggars Bindle would be using it as a DPS carry more than a roamer, since they already have a lot of roaming damage aggression covered by way of their Deadeye, right? Like, playstyle-wise, it wouldn't make sense for them to play it like this. I mean, it might, because they could double up with the Thief. Like, they could go together. It could swing either way, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, I think that they're lacking a lot of damage, unless they're really utilizing it in that role for a lot of the games. We didn't look, but if he was running, like, some people even run Brutality on that build right now. And if you're running Brutality, it's definitely more about sniping Firebrands down and ripping everyone's stab over bodies and just devastating them in terms of cleave and whatnot. So, like, it can go in either, and my instinct is to put it here more than anything else. But for this comp, I felt like it was more there a little bit. So there you go. We see Beggars Bindle go through to the next round. And let's get into their next match nice and quick here. Our chairs still meta. We can't sit in PvP, so no, they are not meta in PvP. Put the Rev in the middle. I mean, yeah, you could do the UI like that, where you have a middle thing, but I think the point is not to provide hard, not to be hard and fast about this, but just to give people a start, right? So we're gonna watch. We could do 2 things. We could watch the August Butchers again, or Beggars Bindle again with Zarkon. I'm gonna watch Beggars Bindle again because I already have the red team established on the other scene, so it's easy to know, like, where they are, basically. If they swap to blue, it's still very simple for us to reposition all their boxes. You don't want to insult or anything. No. See, and maybe I shouldn't be scared of people wanting to discuss it. If you discuss it, it gets chat going, so that's kind of cool. I just want the chat to be more like, oh, how do we feel? Rather than, oh, Wooden Potatoes is a retard, he's put it in the wrong place kind of thing, right? Like, that's what I would rather it be in one way than the other. Yeah, I said August Bitches because you guys, like, made it come out in chat, definitely. So, yeah, we'll just wait for this game to start here. This will be semis. Imagine if they made a chair. If you watch my chair video of Boots, it's an hour-and-a-half long. And we actually talk about food that works with interacting with chairs. There is a food. Coffee gives you quickness when you get off of your chair. So, once again, we actually see that the red team is in the exact same position here. So pretty good from them. Croy taking ages to load in, but we know that he's on a thief, so it's fine. So basically, we're going to be looking at how the blue team matches up against this. So Croy there in the roaming slot is that. So let's take a look here. Blue team, we have Warrior, first of all, coming through with a Rampage Spellbreaker. Pretty functional. He's even in the correct slot, so we know this. On the blue team, they're also fielding a SD Thief, who I would still put in the roaming category. Okay. Next, they have Firebrand support. Where is their Firebrand support? Is he under that? Yeah, he is. That's a bit annoying when that happens. So they have a Firebrand support. Moving on, they have a DPS carry by way of Scourge. So when you see this matched up for the blue team, they've got a really strong mid-fight. And last of all, they have a Demo Mesmer, once again, for the dueling slot. So, again, pretty evenly matched, actually. You've got Deadeye v SD Thief. You've got... I think that blue is favoured based on this, purely, honestly. Just because they've subbed the support. But this is very similar to what red was up against before. So, let's see how the Beggars Bindle do this time. Watching the opening splits here. We're going to watch it from Beggars Bindle, since these are the guys we saw. They've got their Hollow picking up close.
Hold on to your points.
So the fact that they've got the Hollow picking up close definitely means that they think that's more of a duelist slot, right? Let's watch the Rev. And look, the Rev goes to the team fight here, right? So the way that people distribute their guys at the start, I think, says a lot. There was an immediate aggression. So the Rev is alone here in mid. Oh, no, he's not actually alone. But we actually see that Beggars Bindle has pushed to far with... a Mesmer. So they got Mesmer v Warrior over there. That would be a really interesting 1v1 to watch. However, I want to watch the 3v3 in mid. So every single node right now across the game is hot. With Ingenious Rock coming out slightly ahead. The blue team coming out slightly ahead. Just because they managed to pick up their close. While Beggars Bindle did not. We see the Rev try to unload some self-pill for himself with the staff cooldown. He's got to bide his time and get the right damage at the right moment. He has no support, while Ingenious Rock does. So Ingenious Rock is massively favoured for this team fight. It looks like Beggars Bindle really has no win condition in this team fight right now, in my opinion. Rev is on full kite mode. He's got no one to help him. This is all he can actually do at the mid fight here. Pretty much all of his defensive cooldowns blown now, except his glint heal. So here it is. This is his last cooldown. He can chain some evades with his sword 3. But after that, I think he's... Oh, well, then he gets his shield up. I mean, that's the strength of Power Herald, right? It looks like he is going to be pressured off and killed here eventually. Oh, no, he gets his stuff back up. As much as I want to watch the end of that, guys. Yeah, look, the DP Thief moves off. So we see probably here that Ingenious Rock are going to continue sustaining this. Let's watch how Beggars Bindle is doing over here in their 1v1. They've almost got full cap on this node. Actually, they did get full cap on this node. And he's doing very comfortably against the Spellbreaker. So here you can see Chrono in a very convincing dueling scenario. They're also very potent in team fights because of the gravity well and whatnot. And the mitigation that they can throw out with their Phantasm. He's actually going to win the 1v1 really comfortably as well. So, Ingenious Rock losing a 1v1. Is he running Axe Shield, actually? He's running Axe Shield, so that's not the meta build. So, Ingenious Rock fielding a bit of a weird warrior build, actually, there. He is Rampage Spellbreaker, but he's running Axe as well. And for that, I think he's going to lose his 1v1. Meanwhile, Beggars Bindle does go down a little bit here on the roads. Doesn't look like they're in any kind of position to get the res. Mid-fight has been taken by Ingenious Rock, as I described before. But Beggars Bindle has their close as well, so... Oh my god, they got an instant nuke here as well. So Beggars Bindle really making excellent plays here. Finally, they score the 1v1, and they manage to get the 1v1 down quite quickly because they get a plus from their rotating Deadeye. Deadeye takes the pressure. This is a great staggered 2v2 here for Beggars Bindle. They're just killing them right as the Ingenious Rock blue players rotate in. This guy, Signature, notices his mistake by going there too late. He bails out. The Deadeye can't harass or chase too well there. He doesn't have good line of sight. But Beggars Bindle sustaining an excellent position on the map.
Red team wins a capture point.
The Blurred Frenzy delays him a little bit. Ingenious Rock porting out. They kind of have to. But we can just see this Deadeye from Beggars Bindle can just like rotate at luxury here. We're constantly seeing that at least one player on the blue team is down. So yeah, with Beggars Bindle taking such a big lead, let's watch the blue team and see how they can come back into this. So it's really going to be reliant on if they can get value out of their support here. This is the second team we've seen losing while fielding a support when Beggars Bindle instead just field a rev. Let's see how this goes. He takes a really wonky rotation before finally deciding to come up to his close. He goes for the res. He gets dazed at the start of the res. Doesn't secure it. Blown up by the HMS Divinity. Look at that. With that, I think that we're going to see such a heavy snowball come from Beggars Bindle. I actually have no idea what on earth Ingenious Rock can do here. They've got 3 players down. The warrior tries to rotate around. He's running intelligence as well, but he's got intelligence on his greatsword. You'd expect the intelligence to be on the axe so he can secure those meteor eviscerates. Really, it's this warrior's attempt now to split the team apart. Maybe he's trying to offer some pills for his Mesmer, who's caught out super low. Let's watch Signatron. Can he peel away? He really, ideally, he could have gone to no port there to interrupt the unrelenting assault, or he could have started moving towards his support. He takes lots of Condi pressure on the rev. Good matchup for the Ingenious Rock Mesmer here, because this rev cannot shake these Condis off too well. So this is good. He gets support as well from his Roamer. SD Thief. SD Thief also good against rev. They can rip those boons. They can get high value out of those last strikes. Or Herald, I should say, is good against Herald. They can also go through the Glint block. But the 2v2 is lost. The 2v2 is lost with Signatron just being forced to bail out of mid. Sorry about the teleport there. We're just moving away. So he's moving to help out his support. So you notice the Ingenious Rock support is stuck doing nothing, basically. Holding this mid neutral. Gets the dodge on the Chrono Shield 4, which was pretty nice. But unless he gets some damage with him, that engagement was never going to go anywhere. I think Signatron wants him to port out. He does take the port out. But what's his opportunity from here? He ports back in. He uses that as a resustain, really. If he could have got the Mantra cast while on the other side of the portal, that would have been really nice. Instead, he doesn't. He's interrupted as he tries to resustain it. We've got Firebrand Scourge combo over here now. But look at this guy getting chewed out. Look at this guy getting the Rev Deadeye combo. Just unloading so much damage. So, the Scourge now has no support. And he's obviously forced to bail away. Blows a lot of stuff just to get away. He has a lot of life force.
Did you see that?
But time is ticking here. The Ingenious Rock team has done well enough, at least, to neutralize mid and to neutralize far. They have re-established 2 1v1s. If they can make some plays with these 1v1s, while this Scourge can get his support back, it would be really good. So let's see how he fights. Ghastly Breach goes down right in front of Ingenious Rock's spawn, as Beggars Bindle is on the harass. A good garish pillar there might actually afford him the escape that he needs. He blinks straight back up into the rev. Goes back through the portal. The double portal play here. Really like that on the Sand Swell. That actually gives him extra barrier value as well. He has sustained until his support gets up. So really, instead of jumping over this, he should be pushing the node hard now because he's got his support. Wasting a little bit of time. The Beggars Bindle people are slowly losing this engagement. But what of the 1v1s, you ask? Well, they were lost. I think that we saw the 1v1 in progress here was actually plus by the Deadeye, and this 1v1 over here is probably going to be plus by the Deadeye as well. Let's see how this Rampage Warrior can sustain. Druid kites up to the kite spot. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Deadeye, it's the Hollow. He's now outnumbered. This is Kylo, guys. So on Kylo, he really can't do too much in terms of fancy kiting. It's a very open field here. He takes the runaway with the Greatsword. Is it enough in early enough time? It could be. Why he's trying to fight on the road, I have no idea. That Prime Light Beam's going to be bad. Just because he's far away from the Druid, it doesn't mean that the Druid is no longer hitting him. Take it to the roof or something, maybe.
Red team wins.
What do I know? I mean, he does manage to sustain out of that. But he's right on the enemy spawn. And his team winning on the close point means that there were respawns coming in from Beggars Bindle. Easiest kill Beggars Bindle's ever had of their lives. He doesn't even full cap close. He makes a tiny little mistake there. It's not a big deal. So now, basically, we're going to see Ingenious Rock try to sweep back through mid and get some plays here. Their support is already on. This isn't too good for the support, really, unless it's really necessary for decap. You don't want to get on the node too soon, right? Like, you get no value just blowing your cooldown, sustaining your own life here. You really want to be pushing as a pair. With a Rev on your team, with a Scourge on your team, with a Hollow, anyone, right? Like, obviously, they don't have a Rev, but I mean, in any situation. So here, basically, he's just been, like, forced off. And look at what Beggars Bindle can do now with their Rev. They can just take that cap. And now, by the time he gets back, Some of his DPS is dead. So it's, you know, if you're going to field a support, I think you really have to play the support very well. We actually saw that this warrior was going to come to mid, but in the end had to actually come take this 1v1. Warrior should win a 1v1 with a Rev here. Perfectly fine. He's holding this point neutralized, and he kind of has to. We need to see Ingenious Rock neutral this. They do have a portal established, but Signatron went down. Ouch. If Signatron hadn't gone down with that portal, it would have been really good. The support couldn't keep him alive. The portal could have secured neutral across the entire game. But basically what I think we're seeing is that Beggars Bindle can take Ingenious Rock to all 3 nodes and then just like rotate between them with their Rev Deadeye combo and sort of blow them up. And because Ingenious Rock hasn't had map control, they're on such a horrible stagger here. It's going to take a lot for this Thief to bail out. He doesn't manage to. Enraged is now +2'd against, or is he +3'd against? Certainly once this guy comes in. I think he's 4v1 right now. Get out of there. So again, look, the support comes in the last second. Look, his ally's dead. This isn't good. He's got 2 dead people. Oh, it's so painful. Horrible game to play support. And Beggars Bindle taking a very easy win there. Couple of kills land at the end here, and you can see that they do come down a bit. But that was like that one team fight we saw they won when this 5-round Scourge were together, I think. Ingenious Rock does get knocked out, and we will see Beggars Bindle going through to the finals. Looking back at how they matched up. Yeah, I mean, you can really just see, I think, that the support, like them fielding a support and not getting any value from ticking that box. And I actually think it's more reasonable to say that they've been playing like this, isn't it, really? Beggars Bindle has been playing like this. I think we've seen that Rev rotating around a lot more. Well, I don't know, because it wasn't... That game, obviously, was rotating around a lot, just because they had the map advantage, and all he had to do was just walk to a different node wherever it was aggress. But, also, these guys were definitely playing this more as a duelist. So we could actually say they were a little bit like this, maybe. Essentially fielding 3 duelists. This one can straddle the line, I suppose. Yeah. This actually makes sense. Because this is what I said in the game, right? That they were splitting them across 3 nodes, and then the Rev Deadeye were just rotating between them. I think that this is actually what we saw. We saw that Beggars Bindle played a 3-cap game, and Ingenious Rock were trying to play 2-point, but they didn't actually establish those team fights well enough in the end, right? So I think it was something like that, maybe? Showing the points breakdown chart now would be good. Points breakdown chart? What do you mean? In terms of kills scored and stuff? Yeah, I'm just practicing just to see what different things are possible. I find it interesting. Also, by the way, guys, a superficial feedback. Give me some feedback here. Which looks better? This that you're looking at? Look at the background on this layer right now. Which looks better? One of them looks busier, one of them looks less busy. Which one looks better? This? Or this? Which looks cleaner? Which one looks better? We're going to have the monkey on the screen as well. I don't know about this build window. I don't know whether I want the trait window. It looks a bit tacky. Which one looks better, guys? So this, I'll swap it back again now. Transform. Or this. Number 1, you guys think? Yeah, I thought so too. Unless you value the cleanliness, right? Alright, we are waiting for the finals to launch, by the way. We're going to be looking at the August Butchers versus Beggars Bindle. Both teams we've seen. Alright, okay, you guys all like the first one a lot more. It's just because, like, reading Red Home... also, what do you think about the text, right? Where it says Red Home, Blue Home, Bruisers, and DPS carries. What do you guys think of that? Am I going to cast an actual competition? If I'm still having fun with this and I have enough set up, I will give it the next monthly a shot at the end of April. I will go for that. It's Cormier's Clash. It opens in 3 weeks. But there's a lot of things I want to set up. I want to set up kill counters. I want to set up the mini videos. I want to see whether this is at all viable. The organization's good, but I think it would be easier to read if you organize them with teammates first and then by role. That way you don't have to look around and see their full comp. So you're saying click through the entire team first to throw all... Basically do this, right? You're saying to throw them all on there, and then move them around? Is that what you're saying? Instead of, like, put one and then move it, and then put one and then move it, and then put one. Is that what you're saying? You think that the roll breakdown... Hey, people seem to like the roll breakdown. What I'm paranoid right now, I won't know until I wait, like, a day and then watch my own VOD. What I'm paranoid about is that this just doesn't make any sense. I think that highlighting on the specific build we're talking about at the time. So you have a column for team and then a row for roll. Well, we kind of have a column for team already on the top left, yeah, if you think about it. All right, the game just went live. So, we are going to be in Raid on the Capricorn for the finals. Everybody loads in super quick. August Butchers versus Beggars Bindle. We're probably watching Beggars Bindle's perspective on this. Let's go up to the pre-game lobby. We already know what Beggars Bindle is fielding. We've been watching them play a little bit like this. I'm going to put the Hollow back into like a bruiser position though. Okay. And potentially they're fielding their Rev up here. They'll probably play team fight oriented at the start, so we'll do this. Let's just remind ourselves very quickly here of what the blue team, the August Butchers, were running. They do have a support on their Firebrand. They have a Scrapper by the way of a bruiser. They have a Scourge DPS carry. So we're kind of looking at Scourge versus Rev almost for the team fight. They have a Duelist. Actually, I'd call this a Roma more. Remember, you can look at the skill bars on the left to see what my justifications for a lot of this stuff. So, like, he's running Portal, right? He's running Demo. So, wait, what do we call Demo, guys? Tell me what build Demo Mesmer is. He's Sword Torch. He's Condi, actually. Yeah, so I'd say he's more Rome oriented if he's Condi. And then lastly, they have a 1v1er. Probably going to be picking up there close. So you have it. That's how the comps face off against one another. You can have your own thoughts there. I probably won't be able to do any analysis. We don't really have time. Let's move on in. Let's see how the August Butchers do against Beggars Bindle. Watching the Rev perspective again. I think that's probably most interesting.
Hold on to your points.
They pump a hell of a lot of boons out. He's actually draining his energy at the start here just to stack as much protection and stuff on the start of the fight before going to Legendary Assassins. Yeah, like, if he's doing this with a prot and stuff, I mean, it's more team fight oriented, right, than Rome oriented. So we see that Hollows pick up close. It's 4v4 in mid. August Butcher's Warrior is looking for the cross. He gets a slight intercept from this Rev, which is excellent because that enables the Beggars Bindle team to fully secure their close point. The mid fight really takes quite heavily out onto the roads here, as you can see. Rev gonna have to shake that Condi Mez here. And meanwhile in mid, we do have the 2v2 established where we have Druids facing off, sustaining the node against Firebrand Scourge combo. And he has a little bit of support up on the side. Actually, wow. Amazingly, their Deadeye did go down, and he's self-rezzing. Do the August Butchers notice? It looks like they might. They are moving up just a little bit. He gets the full res just in time. Pushing for that as well. Allows the Druid almost to get full cap. Oh, lovely knock. So the full cap doesn't actually go through there. And this 2v2 will continue to sustain. We're going to have to watch some of the 1v1s now, guys. Moving over to this side of the node, we do have the Hollow versus the Warrior. Continuing to watch Beggars Bindle's perspective here. He's doing very well just to sustain this and not die. The Rampage comes out, but look how healthy he is. He's actually super, super, super healthy. Pops this. This is great with his Iron-Blooded combo. Excellent damage coming here from this Duelist Hollow. It's 100% they've been playing this as a Duelist. That will probably still sustain a long time. This is actually a good map for kiting around the sides. 2v2 is still in progress. I don't see it going too bad over here. And Beggars Bindle actually winning their Farpoint 1v1. They've got full cap and they've managed to harass away. So you can see Iron-Blooded Hollow losing here to the Chrono. And you can see that Iron-Blooded Hollow winning over here versus the Warrior. Meanwhile, the mid-fight's getting extremely volatile. Beggars Bindle managing to push down a kill with their Rev here on the Condi Mez. That last we saw, actually, it was the other way around. He was getting harassed. Red secures their 1v1 over there. So Red has sides, guys. That means the Beggars Bindle is going to be quite securely in the lead here. Once we see this mid-fight wipe here, once this Scourge goes down, he really wants to be on sword right now. That weapon swap to staff was obscene. Why would you ever do that? I mean, he can obviously do pressure with impossible odds in your way. But yeah, so they take the pressure over the body. Excellent cleave. Prime Light Beam to knock the body away, interrupt the res. The support takes massive pressure. And yes, we see the August Butchers do manage to lose their mid-fight here. So August Butchers got quite a job to get back into this game. Let's start off by watching the August Butchers close. And their Scrapper. Oh, actually, this wasn't Hollow, right? He was losing his 1v1 to the Chrono because he's Scrapper, not Hollow. And he's not necessarily a duelist at all. He's more of a bruiser. A place where he can get value out of his function gyro is better than being alone in a 1v1 or 1vx. You get 0 value out of a function gyro unless you have allies around. For that reason, I think that Scrapper is almost always going to be a bit more of a bruiser. Anyway, that's irrelevant for this fight. You can see that very beautifully, Beggars Bindle, having won most of the map, they're now pushing the line. They're taking the fight to the August Butchers close. And August Butchers not a bad team, guys. They're here in the finals. They've been playing good games so far. It's just Beggars Bindle have been playing extremely well in this tournament, actually. We need to see, really, that the August Butchers have more pressure to get this Druid away and win this fight. Look at them walk off as they get immediately decapped. Unbelievable. I can't believe this. Oh, we get sort of the last second. Some kind of point-blank shot would be so nasty. And what do we see? It's the friggin' support that's stuck here. This is not what you want. No, don't leave your support stuck here. 1v1 against the Avatar Druid. This is gross for the August Butchers. Where's their sustain on the rest of the map now? Where was the support for this Scourge who immediately dies? The rally race wins at least, so that's a little bit of salvage. Can he get on the boxes? He can't, so he's been aggressed extremely hard. Deadeye plus Hollow just absolutely blowing him up. Let's see if the August Butchers have got any kind of play that they can make here from his Mesmer. Bell looks like it's about to land, so that's why they're playing around. Actually, was Bell already in play? Yeah, we actually missed the first Bell. He out-times his portal. This is good, though. He can use this Mesmer ability. I do actually think he's got decap here. This is going to be very close. Yeah, he does have decap. Obviously, this Hollow not running rocket boots, so it's fine. Scores the decap, ports it, and leaves. Please port it and leave. I don't know how this 1v1 goes, actually. Actually, take the 1v1, yeah. Take the 1v1, and when you're losing the 1v1, port and bail out. That's a good idea. Score a bit of decap value, mate. Score... Oh, God, these guys aren't playing on loads of... Come on, he's going to full cap that in the middle of your fight, and that's so deadly for your team. You need to actually help them stay in this. Okay, good. So, actually, I think the demo Mez here... Or the Condi Mez, actually, sorry. Will win this 1v1. He even gets his plus coming in from a Scrapper. Now, a Scrapper plussing him. Like, what value is that, really? It's not like he brings a ton of damage. The Scrapper probably would have been better, actually, forcing an engagement elsewhere. But so this is actually the one worthwhile play the August Butchers have made here. Do they have any kind of fast rotating player to get to mid? Actually, no. Their only fast rotating player was the Mesmer we were watching a second ago. Bell is going to be live in 30 seconds. And meanwhile, we see that they are wiping again. Let's see how the support does, trying to get his Scourge back onto the field. Big res in progress here. This is going to be really hard. He's desperate not to use his last tick of the mantra. Probably could have taken it, but that res was never going to go off. So Firebrand Scourge combo dead again on their spawn. I mean, if we are in a situation where your Firebrand Scourge combo is dying on spawn, it's not very good. We see actually that Beggars Bindle managed to port out. The red team ports immediately over back towards mid to take this. They have presence at Bell. Once again, this very potent Condi Mesmer build has to do so much work. Look at this. He ports through to get the neutralization. He ports back to make sure mid doesn't get fully decapped. I would have taken the Jaunt. I'd be extremely scared of letting him get too many points because of the risk of point-blank shots. But look at this play here from Pad. This is like super holding his team in the game here. He just prevented them being 3 capped plus Bell just through the power of portals. So that's really nice. He will sustain that for a while. I don't think he'll ever actually kill that Druid. It depends how much cleanse he's running. Free cap here, but the guy that's scoring free cap is their Scourge. So not too nice, honestly, for the August Butchers to be stuck like that. And I think their Firebrand just died over here as well. Yeah, Firebrand is down. And yeah, they've just been slammed down basically every engagement. Now we can actually see that Pad, who did all those lovely plays trying to sustain Bell and have his 1v1, he's now been plus... He's 4v1, guys. He's 4v1, basically. I mean, yes, he's got an ally over here. He bails out of the 4v1. Excellent play there. I love seeing him actually manage to successfully bail out of that. With this Bell flipping, I think we are going to see Watch the bars, guys. Oh, look at all the points the red team's about to get. They get 50 points. They get much closer to their win. All that we have to see now is, I mean, look, he's not even securing decap. Even if this member of the August Butchers goes for this decap, he could be ported against, since that's his enemy team's portal. The Druid rotates through. Druid backnoding for Beggars Bindle, as you can see there. And Beggars Bindle take the win for the tournament on Oceanic. Looking back at how the matchups went. What did we see happen here? 3 games in a row, guys. 3 games in a row where Firebrand Scourge supports weren't carrying like they're expected to. I think a lot of teams are fielding in this tournament. I think a lot of teams fielded Firebrand Scourge support, and it wasn't impactful enough for them. Certainly not against Beggars Bindle. Tell me, chat, why is that? Teach me something. How is it that Beggars Bindle accomplished so much with a Deadeye and a Rev versus what would be considered extremely meta-safe comps? Like, look at the blue comp here. Look at this comp. Firebrand Scourge support. They got Hollow. Actually, it was a Scrapper. To be honest, it was a Scrapper, so maybe the Scrapper wasn't impactful enough. Is it just better players? Alright, okay, I'll permit you, Valen. Yeah, tell me what you mean. I hope that what you mean is a great idea and within reason possible. You think it's 3 Duelists, 2 Roamer? It's going to be the new meta. The difference in survivability and damage in team fighter and a support just isn't enough to justifying the flexibility of a Duelist. Yeah, so Valen is basically saying here that the red team weren't really fielding this guy. They were doing this, right? Which is what we saw, I was suggesting before. We were actually seeing this is how Beggars Bindle were playing. Definitely they were playing this Hollow as a Duelist. He was picking up their close on the 1v1s, right? So we were watching what Beggars Bindle were doing was establishing themselves across 3 nodes by having this guy at a node, this guy at a node, and this guy at a node. And then they had these guys moving between them, blowing everything up. Meanwhile, we had these guys trying to take big team fights with their Scrapper, Firebrand, Scourge combo, which is very defensive. They were having a single Duelist in their Warrior, and the Mesmer to rotate around a little bit. Alright, let's see. Imgur, let's see what you got. What's your idea? Oh, you're proposing changing the scene altogether. Now, I did consider this, Valen, but it's not flexible, because if a team fields 4 Duelists, and I haven't got enough room on my table for full Duelists, it's going to look like shit. But if I add enough room for 4 Duelists, there's going to be tons of dead space, like 4 supports. There's going to be like dead space there on almost every single cast. Do you get what I mean? Maybe there's a way to work around it. You also lose the other breakdown. If you do this setup, you don't get to sort of determine whether someone is... Let's look at the monkey here. There you go. Look. You don't get to do this cool thing. I think it's cool anyway, where you can sort of distinguish between a team carry and a sort of a bruisery team fighter, or the person who you think might go to red, or the person you think might go to blue, kind of thing. You don't get to do that on your setup, I think. If you have proposals around that, or a suggestion as to why you think my points are invalid there. So when you make that suggestion, Valen, what is the clarity you seek? Is there a way we can get that clarity even on this setup with the 4 boxes? Sorry to everyone on Wooden Potatoes 2 who don't get to see that his suggestion there. What you're suggesting, Valen, is actually, if you think about it, you see my box for supports. It's just imagine if that was on top of the team fighter box and Roamers was underneath the Duelist box. That's exactly what you've proposed. If you imagine for a second that support was organized above, team fighters was below, Roamers was below. But it doesn't really work because we're on a 16:9 aspect ratio. We could do it left to right, but I think that loses the clarity you're looking for. Because you want to see the whole team stacked on top of one another. You want to see a stack, right? And the stack would look good, but at 16 by 9, it doesn't work, I don't think. It's just kind of hard to read with the sideways text, yeah. Really nice cast. You enjoyed watching the stream. Thank you very much, dude. Really, Derelict. So hold on. Let me read this a little bit more carefully. What did Derelict say about it? Take it too hard. If you guys have suggestions for like visual differences we can make. What is this tournament? Basically, every day 3 tournaments pop. 1 for OCX, 1 for NA, 1 for EU in their prime slots. And players compete for gold and qualifying points that gives them access to the monthly tournament, which has insane money, prestige, and unique legendary items that aren't available anywhere else in the game. Dude, you got to start putting PvP stuff on the main channel. I'm not ready for that, dude. I'm not ready. Royal says, I think roles should take a smaller place on the screen. But isn't that the entire value? I'm not sure about duplicating the info from the top left to split between the roles. Maybe the top left part is not needed. So top left, you mean August Butchers? You mean the team windows up on the top left there? You don't think that that's necessary? What's not necessary about that? I quite like that. It's hard to see the blue team's full comp because Reds is quite close to one another. I wish I could just dynamically move these, but they're all baked into the same overlay. I mean, I could do a really small thing where it is the 4 boxes stacked on top of one another, but I think it would look like shit, guys. But, like, we can pretend for a second it would be something like this, right? This is actually, like, there would be value to this, right? If everyone was here. This is almost what you're asking for. Red team, blue team column. And it would be like, okay, so Red has 2 team fighters. There are bruisers matching off against one another, but the difference is that these guys are investing 2 to their home and these guys are investing 2 or something, right? Like, because of the outnumbers, I don't know. When's the next LP episode? Much later today. Yeah, the player's name box in the categories to light up when I inspect their build. Yes, I think that's a good idea, and I think I can set that up. It would take a lot of hotkeys, but I think I can set it up. Robert95PL says it's looking better, less mess. What are you talking about? What, when I just fake it and stack this like this? You would make the color. I mean, I already desaturated the shit out of these windows, by the way. They're already massively desaturated. I kind of don't want to desaturate them too much more because I like the color on them. I like that this is slightly blue tinted. From when I watch Dota, they sometimes place the players onto the map. All right, so I had another idea for placing players onto the map, but that would not be this overlay. It's a different thing. And it's amazing. It's my coolest idea yet, but I don't know whether you'll ever see it because I have to learn something quite major. But I have a really cool idea for that. Whether you would have time to do that in monthlies, in dailies, I doubt it because the game only gives you 90 seconds. You can control the hotkeys with your feet as well. No, that's not the problem. It's just defining everything. Yeah, putting them into bruiser and DPS carry and stuff, it's not necessarily necessary. It was just a bit of fun that was enabled by the fact we had the 4 boxes. The 4 boxes don't exist because of blue home, red home, bruiser, DPS carry. The 4 boxes exist because because stacking them on top of one another would look shit, I think. I did have another like idea as well, where the team fighter box like vaguely represented a mid node, the duelist box vaguely represented sides, and support team fighter were together. There was another setup entirely, but. The vertical length of the rolls can be decreased. You mean make the boxes narrower? Royal, you're not this where you're sitting. Are you talking about the monkey? There's not. You're not meant to be watching game footage there. That's literally just there in case I have to go into traits, so you see the traits come out as well. But I don't even know whether this is fully necessary. This is not for watching, spectating games. There's no. I don't think that it's necessary making this bigger. What's the difference between duelists and roamers? Roamers don't 1v1 people. They just flip between nodes, swinging engagements and causing outnumbers and scoring neutralizations and putting pressure across the map. Duelists take 1v1s and they stay alive when they're outnumbered. Very, very, very different roles. Duelists are very static and stationary. Roamers move very, very fast. Roamers typically are bad 1v1ers, typically. You just want to be able to see traits bigger? Well, I don't know whether I like the trait thing at all, frankly, because I don't like it when the window underneath it is I think it looks crap. So I don't know. I might get rid of the trait box altogether. Maybe. I don't know. It's just like extra clicking as well. That's the annoying thing. ArenaNet makes me double click to get the build windows up. If it automatically did it as I swapped through. I could do a staggered box thing, where it's like, if we imagine for a second, Veronica Aeon here is a support box, God of Windtrade is Roamer, Mistforged is Team Fighter, and Croy is Duelist. You could do a setup where it's like this. The boxes overlap, not like that. Like this, essentially. Except obviously the aspect ratio would be different. And in this way, you might be able to get the 4 boxes stacked on top of one another and looking vaguely good. You might be able to like that. I could try and build the overlay in that way. And then you would have a little bit more of a table-looking thing. It would look a bit more like it, right? And then that would also free up space to make the build thing bigger. So, I mean, that's all aesthetics. Is there anything else people felt? Did we cover it quick enough in the 90 seconds? Here's my main question to you guys. What would you rather watch? This window in a pre-game lobby, or this window in a pre-game lobby where you're just like seeing people standing around in base? Which would you rather watch? And by how much? By how wide of a margin? Because if the answer is, oh, it's pretty cool, but I don't really care that much, then it's really not worth the added stress, like bagging down each cast on my end, if you get what I mean. Like, I can automate it and make it as easy for myself as possible, but there is a limit, right? Like, so which would you rather watch? That's my question. Which would you rather watch, and how much? Aethercloud says 1 by far. What do you mean 1? Which one's 1, guys? I didn't say 1 and 2. You definitely think the first one's good, but not sitting in the whole pregame. 1, I guess 1 is the lobby, is it? 1 is this. You just need to be better at using this analysis in game, like commenting when someone is forced to switch roles and stuff. But I really like it. I don't know whether I'll be able to do that, Eludus. That's like probably something where you have 2 casters and you can have 2 brains at once. But I really think I'm sort of reaching my limit of actual casting capability, I think. I mean, I will continue to practice. But I think in terms of like holding the camera properly and stuff, I'm still shit with the camera. 1 is the lobby. Okay, so people really do seem to like it. Dumac says, I don't want to watch a static JPEG on a stream. It's not a static JPEG. What are you talking about? Royo asking me to swap between them. I get what you're saying. Let me just be clear. Like, I'm pressing a lot of buttons to accomplish this. And I only have 90 seconds to go through 5, potentially 10 builds assign them all. Like, it's actually really, really hard. Being able to also have the time in that 90 seconds to swap back so that you can get the flavor of, like, watching people standing around is kind of hard. Having the categories is better, but that could be because it's new. We might have to see over time.
Buster.
Just having your character running around feels more amateurish. The overlay feels really professional. Okay, this is good. I'm getting good feedback. People seem to really like this. This is good. 1 equals your UI. Okay, so next question as well. Is there any dispute or debate about the categories that Georges and I have come up with here? The actual categories. 4 roles, and you can sort of break them down a little bit, but 4 roles. Is there any dispute about this? Did you guys watch this today and think, he's put that in the wrong area, that doesn't really work? And, like, to a very great extent. Like, not like healthy debate, this is interesting to talk about, but as in, yeah, there should actually be, like, 6 boxes. A misassignment here and there I'm not too upset about. But, like, is there any debate about this? The actual, like, intellect. The weight of intellect behind, like, the entire concept. Not talking aesthetics. Not talking, like, any of that stuff. You dispute the team fighter category? What about it? That there are 2 varieties of team fighter in Guild Wars 2? DPS carries and bruisers? Like, I think that there really is that distinction. I think, like, a Staff Ellie is a DPS carry. It's a shit one because it's so vulnerable, but it's a DPS carry in a team fight. It's not meta, so you won't see anybody putting it there, but I think a Staff Ellie is a DPS carry, just as a Scourge is a DPS carry. Very low self-sustain and self-heal. While, like, Explosives Hollow, back when it was stronger, like that, I think is also a DPS carry. Just crazy explosions on the nodes. But reasonably vulnerable at the same time. Makes most use having a support. I do think that there's but I think that they're both team fighters, right? I think that if you throw a Chrono in the mid fight, I think he's still a team fighter. You'd rather call the entire box carries or DPS? I mean, I don't mind that. I don't mind changing that. That might be good because... what's my point? Because, again, I still don't know whether I really like Bruiser as a designation. Just because Bruiser, like, I don't know. Yeah, support kind of does feel like a team fighter as well, Royal. I understand that. That's why they're on the top row together. I tried to keep them similar. You think every build is a team fighter? So you're arguing semantics right now. You're saying team fighter isn't a good word to describe it because everyone fights as a team. So you are arguing for relabeling the team fighter thing to damage carries? How do you feel about distinguishing between Iron-Blooded Hollow and Scourge? How do you feel about that? Well, I mean, the other breakdown, by the way, is condition pressure versus power pressure, but I don't care for that, really, because you could kind of do that on all the boxes. I mean, maybe we could do that in all the boxes. So you could have Condi Roamer section, you could have a flat damage Roamer, you could split all the boxes in half and have a Condi versus power split going on as well. So Valen, if you believe that, give me your revised list and I'll see whether I prefer that. And anyone can. If you debate the semantics are easy to change and I would like to nail it properly. The semantics are really important for new people. I like the word support. I like the word duelist. I like the word roamer. I think they're really good and understandable to new people. I think it's exciting to think of yourself as a roamer. Someone will watch one of the... Ideally, someone will watch the monthly and they'll be like, yeah, I want to play as a roamer. What are the specs? And then, like, go and, you know, pick up fucking DP or something. I think that's good. Team fighter does sound a bit nebulous. I agree, so... This is an aesthetic criticism. I think you could have picked a more fitting background through spec. Okay, I mean that feedback really doesn't mean anything. I sort of don't care about that. Wouldn't that be far too much information? Just 4 boxes at the very easy to get an overview of? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like maybe it is too much. It's not a custom tournament. I did it for the daily run. Splitting the boxes down further is a bit much. The team fighter box to something like brawlers. I don't like brawler though, because then Scourge is a brawler. Is Scourge a brawler? I don't know. I don't like that. Scourge is a damage carry. Scourge is DPS. Scourge is like in need of support and it does a ton of damage. That's really, this team fighter box, that's what we're talking about here. I don't really like the term DPS, by the way. I only put DPS there because it was less text and it made the UI look a little bit less bloated. Really, they're damage carries, right? What do other competitive games call vulnerable AoE damage dealers? Well, like in MOBAs, like you have the AP carry and you have the AD carry, right? Like they're the exact same role. It's just, you know, I think anyway. And the Guild Wars equivalent to that, I guess, maybe-ish would be like the Condi carry versus the power carry, but the meta is not and has not ever really been in a hard and fast defined place where it's like you run 2 carries with the support, one power, one Condi. There's been like that, that doesn't transcend all metas, unfortunately. So you're saying call team fighter box damage carry box, damage carry, and then you get rid of the bruiser DPS carry designation in there. You don't know how helpful it is to say carry to someone who hasn't played a MOBA before. Well, yeah, I mean, but obviously, yeah, you're right. And one thing we can do to get around that a little bit is to, in the commentary, just say, these are the carries. These guys carry the most of the damage, I guess. The term should be easy to understand. I don't know. What are we arguing for now? I may have lost the thread a little bit. Is it going to be team fighter? Is it going to be damage carry? Is it just going to be damage? Damage sounds really boring, though. Let's be honest. If the team fighter box was just called damages, like... Carry is incorrect terminology. Team fighter is fine. Carry for me is something that evolves throughout a game. You carry him in the early game and he carries you in the end game. That doesn't happen in Guild Wars 2. Pressure DPS, they are the ones who pressure. These are the guys that quite literally do the most damage. That is actually what defines them. Right? Roamers, they do high damage, but it's bursty damage. They get low numbers overall. The team fighter box, these are the people who unload the most pressure, whether that be through spamming fucking explosions and shit on the node through dodge rolls, or whether that be through unloading obscene Condi pressure through Desert Shroud. These are the damage. Team fighter is descriptive, but it's also nebulous because duelists, well, yeah, it supports our team fighters. That's the thing, right? Like, I don't know. Team fighter is okay. I think team fighter is okay too. Basically, I will change team fighter if there's a perfect term to change it. That is what I will do. I'll change it if there's a perfect term instead. I don't know whether it's fair to call Scourge a bruiser. Not to new people outside the scene. I don't think you'd ever think of Scourge as a bruiser. Scourge, like, thematically, first of all, is a mage. I get within Guild Wars once the term is settled, and if you think about playstyle, I get it, right? But, like, does bruiser is immediately evident and descriptive to new people. I think thematically it doesn't fit. And I also think, like, again, most games see bruisers as CC-oriented, like, powerhouses. Sturdy, CC-oriented characters. I wouldn't necessarily call Scourge that. I mean, it's got a lot of soft CC, don't get me wrong. And even a bit of hard CC. The Torch 5, the Fears. But, I really think as well, with respect to how everything else plays in Guild Wars 2, Scourge quite clearly is, like, more of, like, the mage caster damage role right now, right? Like, that's vulnerable. Yeah, it has CCs and stuff loaded in, but with respect to the rest of the scene, it's own self-sustain and stuff. Again, like, Bruiser is suggestive of self-sustain, but if a Scourge gets pressured by 2 players on its own, it's not peeling out of that, it's dying. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. The team fighter is good because that's the terminology you've been using to describe team fights. During a match, you've never said, look at these DPS carries at mid. Well, I could start saying that, though, right? I could start saying... That's the idea. Like, this actually defines quite a lot. I guess the English language just doesn't have a good term for it. And again, it's like... Team fighters is a little bit off, but it's the most appropriate so far, I think. If someone gets a really good one. Hard hitters sounds lame to me. I don't know. Does anyone else agree with that? Does hard hitters sound lame? Hard hitters. I don't know. Call them cannons. Carries is best. Squishy hard hitters. I like the theory. Yeah, even though we might not be getting anywhere, guys, I like the discussion. Big dick damage. Demolishes. Well, no, you can't take amulets. That would be a bad idea, I think. I think any doubling up with the amulets is bad. It needs to be pithy as well, guys. It can't be like 3 words. It can't be big dick damage or... I mean, glass cannon sounds okay. I don't know. Well, let's go back. What was wrong with mine here where I basically say you got team fighters and some of them are damage carries and some of them are bruisers? What was wrong with what I said here? Going back to basics, can someone fill me in again? Is this a situation, by the way, where we were discussing something at length, but it's not actually that important? All right, so listen, guys. I am going to try stacking the cards on top of one another a little bit, like I described before. With, basically like the staggered climb, right? We're going to try it like this. The other change I'm going to try and do is have each box highlight when I'm looking at that specific player. That's going to be a lot of work to get right, but I think I can do it. Or can I do it? Actually, it might be impossible. It might be impossible. It might be impossible for now. I would actually, with some assistance from CVPCS, it could be possible. But for now, it might be impossible. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. At the very least, one thing that will be possible. Yeah. You see the party windows on the top left? I can have it light up on the party window on the top left when we're looking at a specific thing. But the box itself. So when I'm looking at Croy here, he'll be lit up here, but he won't be lit up actually on the cards, which probably isn't good enough, actually, is it? Schmellen basically summarized the argument. Teamfight is ambiguous. DPS carry is obscure for newbies. That's what started the discussion. Is damage carry... Maybe just damage then. Oh, damage sounds so lame though. And damage is nebulous in the same way that team fighters is. It's like, well, duelists do damage, roamers do damage, even supports do damage. Damage is actually even worse than team fighters in a weird way. What about having the team fight category split into 2 subsections, damage and support? So you're arguing for 3 cards, just 3 cards. Yeah, depending on how long a duel goes, they can get top damage in the end, actually. Not always, though. I think in a pretty standard game of Conquest, that's not true, is it? That's more of a side. AoE carry. I don't know whether that's fair either, because a lot of people would have put Rev through various metas in this slot, and they're not necessarily that AoE. I agree that AoE is a almost like a hallmark of this kind of build. Like, most builds will have, and AoE, Rev has AoE potential, definitely, right? And it's got cleave on the swords, and the Star 5 is AoE, and, you know, Shiro Explosion is AoE, and Chaotic Release is AoE, and the facets are AoE, so it's got AoE in it. Maybe I just convinced myself that you're right. Team fighter category has to go either way. What do you mean has to go? You mean get rid of? Or do you mean... I mean, yeah, team fight doesn't mean that you stay in mid all game, though. You can have a team fight on fire. You can have a team fight on close. The terminology we have here doesn't prohibit that, does it? Why do you call it carry? What does carry mean to you? I have DPS carry here. I'd rather write damage carry, but I believe that there are damage carries. I believe that a Scourge is a damage carry because I believe that they carry the weight of most of the damage across the team, right? That's why I have carry written. Also because it's recognizable from people who play MOBAs, and MOBAs are the largest esport category in the world right now. So in terms of like new player catchment, I thought that carry was like most likely to resonate with randoms that come in. That's why I went with carry. But somebody made an alternate argument in chat. Was it you actually that said carries are carries in MOBA because they need to be carried at first and then they get carried later? But the thing is, like, a Scourge kind of gets carried by his support. A Scourge can't do shit without a lot of support from his friends, so doesn't it match out? If you go with 3 boxes, the 4th box could be a lot. So, by the way, guys, the specialization window, I just want to be clear as well why some things are the way they are. If we make this too big, it's gonna... Oh, actually, it scales pretty well. All right, never mind. It scales pretty well. But if you make these too big, they can start looking really poo. But yeah, we can make this bigger. Carry is confusing because it's totally different in a MOBA. Is there seriously no game that's structured like this that has a fucking role that just does a lot of damage and has a name? Is there no game that just has that? Maybe damage is... but damage doesn't work. I don't know, man. What do you think of the scrolling text that describes the role somewhere near the name of the group? Do you think that would look too cluttered? Yes, I do. I also think it's unnecessary. I mostly think it's too cluttered, but I also think I like your impulse. I just think it can be resolved with educational interstitial clips from other points. In Overwatch, they just call it DPS. Oh no, Bick, don't host me. I'm literally about to... Well, this is a weird stream. Actually, I'll tell you what, Bick, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. Everybody who just came from Bick's stream, you guys can give some feedback here. We're basically doing a thing where in the pre-game lobby of a conquest game, we define what the compositions are. Like, so what you're looking at here right now, okay, this is ridiculous. What you're looking at here is red team versus blue team. You can see that... the blue team is fielding a formal support. While, yeah, actually a cursor. I think just having a cursor on this screen is going to work wonders, guys. That's all I need. I need to capture a mouse cursor. Instead of the highlight, I think a cursor is more than enough because you can see my mouse over whatever I'm highlighting. No problem, dude. Just host somebody else. No problem. Yeah, well, no, but everybody who came, we're basically trying to break down a vague idea that are not purely descriptive, but largely descriptive of the different roles that in Guild Wars. And we're trying to figure out, does anybody have issue with the word team fighters to describe like Scourges, Revs during Heart of Thorns, for example, Reapers during Heart of Thorns? I basically have a designation right now that you've got team fighters that come in 2 flavors. They're either like a damage carry, like the Scourge, they need a lot of support, or they're more bruiser oriented. They can sort of sustain a bit better. They can 1vx for short periods of time. They have both support for their team as well as a lot of damage. So, yeah, we were just having a discussion on that, if anybody has any ideas. But you can see, like, for example, what we're looking at here, if you look at the roaming section, this would be indicative of, say, 2 Greatsword Mesmers in the roaming role. One on the blue team facing off against one on the red team. You might see that those would be 2 thieves, like 2 DP thieves. Yeah. What's the difference of duelists and bruisers? Duelists seek to go to far or to back node and hold their close and 1v1 and win 1v1s. They seek to do that for as long as... And if they get plus, if someone comes in to out-rotate them, they can actually survive through kiting and sustaining long enough. That's a duelist, okay? A bruiser has a bit of dueling capacity, certainly, but is not necessarily excelling in that role. They can do much better in team fights. So if you think about, like, a druid really isn't worth very much in a team fight. But if you think about a prot hollow, they're actually worth a lot in a team fight, right? So a bruiser is sort of a mix of some dueling capacity and capability in with a team fighter. That's the idea of a bruiser. And that's why you see bruisers actually are represented visually quite close, categorically. Like, they're quite close here. They are quite similar. Bruisers are similar to duelists, but they're not, like, as well refined in that role of just sitting on far point all game or backnoding. The bruiser is sort of the most well-rounded of the roles, certainly. Why isn't Radiant Hammer meta? Wait, I thought Core Guardian runs Hammer. What would be the best in slot for each of the current categories? Probably Scourge up here is a damage carry. Firebrand up here is a support. That's really easy. Maybe, I mean, people will make the argument, so I'll make it 2. This isn't necessarily my opinion. But SD Thief for the Roamer slot. Warrior pushing far. Druid picking up close. And what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's your 5-man team. That would be a pretty good 3-point team. Or instead of having that Druid, you could instead run like a Hollow or a Chrono in the Bruiser slot. That would be quite good for best in slot. Cleaver evokes a DPS that cleaves enemies. Cleaver's pretty good. Yeah, SD definitely can contribute in team fights and things as well. It's not as pure of a roamer as DP, definitely. But I think that it still excels as a roamer more than anything else. At the end of the day, you take something with that much mobility, it's going to want to get value out of that mobility. Or you may as well have just ran something else. I think that just sort of forces them into a more roamy role. Powerhouses. Powerhouses sounds cheesy to me. What kind of warrior builds are used? A lot of warriors run Spellbreaker right now. You find a lot of warriors playing as duelists. They'll be picking up their close or far. They'll be fighting 1vx. They'll be sustaining those nodes. Sometimes you will find more bruisery warriors at the moment. Who run much more aggressive. You might even find some meme warrior builds that run like Bulls Rush Frenzy 100 Blades. You might even justifiably put into a DPS carry. But I don't know. This is more bursty than anything else, so. Why not give them roles based on the name of the amulet? Because the amulet isn't actually indicative of playstyle, unfortunately, Nike. Like, how do I best describe that? The fact that a Mesmer is on a Condi amulet, you could pick any Condi amulet, like, doesn't actually determine whether they play quite stationary in mids, whether they rotate a lot, whether they push 1v1s. It really doesn't say very much, unfortunately. Also, I'm not sure how the UI would work with that. That would just be a ton of different boxes, wouldn't it? My enthusiasm is pretty infectious. Thank you, man. I think the issue is that team fighters should include the support as well, so you could put a team fighter border around them both and call them. Yeah, that did occur to me a second ago. So like the top would be like team fighters, and then there's one box for damage. There's the other for support. I think that works. Let me do this in paint for you all. So basically, I think like. If it was something like... oh, God, I'm really bad at paint. We will see this on stream as well. I will show you guys how this looks on stream. Oh my god, that's tiny. Font size 11. Much bigger, please. If it looked a little bit like this... Hold on, guys. We're getting there. Okay, screenshot. Okay, Firefox. Alright, finally. Sorry about that, guys. So, if it looked like this, I think it could work a bit better. We kind of lose the bruiser designation with that. But damage works better as like a, you know, when you just pair damage and support under the same header, it suddenly doesn't feel cheesy or whatever. Because, so Valen just said in chat, damage has the same problem as Team Fighter, which we discussed earlier and is correct. But you kind of sneaky get around that on this because the grey box encapsulating the both of them kind of... It excludes... there's no point in saying, oh, but damage... duelists do damage as well, and roamers do damage, because the grey box, like, excludes them from that. So, like, that's all well and good, but I'm kind of thinking bigger picture than just the graphics of this thing. I'd actually like terminology that people, you know, it works actually for the casts, and we can think in terms of. And I think that, this still doesn't, like, it still doesn't sound cool, does it? It just doesn't, I don't know. Oh my god. And I'm going to actually lose my mind. This is going to come up again and again and again. This extremely intelligent observation that, oh, but people can do multiple things. We know that people can do multiple things. It's all about what you primarily aim for, what you excel in. There is such a thing as excellent, and this is really valuable. It's extremely valuable to have a bedrock, to have a baseline of understanding of where people start. It doesn't matter that a Scourge can 1v1, okay? And that's one of the things that enables the build. It's irrelevant. People need to be able to unpack the scene and understand what's happening at a bedrock level. This is extremely important. I do not buy the argument that just because, you know, sometimes you can win a 1v1 on a DP Thief, that means that this is all useless. We're not trying to draw black and white lines here. Obviously, the beauty of Conquest and the game as a sport is that people will move outside of their boxes sometimes, right? That's what it's all about. It's about relishing those moments. But you don't relish that moment if you don't have a bedrock of understanding of what they could be doing, because then you realize what's extraordinary and what's not. We need the bedrock there. So, what do you guys think about what I've just put on screen here? I actually think this would work. As shown here, it makes sense on first glance. That does basically kill bruises, but, I mean, it's pretty easy for me. I just want one extra way of pointing out when something is really reliant on a support or not. Because I do think, like, Conversion Hollow isn't reliant on support in the same way that Scourge is. They do feel... I'm on George's side here, that it's almost like a different role, you know, a fifth box. What do you mean? You're only trying to define the player categories for a game that was built on the fact class categories don't matter. Class category... I know you put a kappa there, but just in case anyone thinks that's a legitimate argument, class categories don't matter in Guild Wars 2, but that doesn't mean categories don't exist whatsoever. The game has been built on a soft trinity of control, damage, and support. There is role designation in fractals and raids, even when they hardwire it, like, oh, hey, you have to go do greens and stuff. There are actually categories. The point that ArenaNet were making at launch is that one profession should be able, ideally, to have a build that can run in each slot. That was what they were talking about. And to greater or lesser extent, they failed in that ambition in different levels, but that doesn't preclude the idea of having roles whatsoever. The idea is that you could run a DPS Guardian, or you could run a Support Guardian, and guess what? You know, you've got Core Guard. Right now, for the current meta, just an example, you could play a Firebrand, or you could play a Core Guard. There are reasonable DH builds up. That's the idea, that there's variety and flexibility within the class, but it doesn't go beyond those boundaries. It doesn't eliminate builds altogether. Anyway, I know you put a Kappa there, and it was just a joke, but, yeah. Another problem with this is it's highly dependent on team comp. No, it's not. I'd rather have team fighters as 3 columns or rows. I think most people will be familiar with carry as you already had next to bruiser. While not all have played MOBAs, I think that those terms are the most commonly known for the description you want. Yeah, so bruiser would be like that you would have bruisers in the damage as well. Why are you so keen on distinguishing between AoE damage dealers that need support and the ones that don't? I don't think it's relevant. I think it's extremely relevant. It's really, really, really relevant. How a Scourge gets split away from his Firebrand, how the DPS carry gets split away from his support is pivotal, is massive. The tournament that I casted today, the OCX one, was defined by that. 3 games in a row lost by 3 teams in a row that all had Scourge Firebrand support and didn't rotate them together properly. It's extremely important. And being able to identify that, not just in this meta, by the way, but in other metas too. If it's a Reaper that we're seeing, if it's a Rev that we're seeing, is really, really, really important. Yeah, side noders would be duelists. Something like Bruiser carry, damage carry. Well, you've just added the word carry onto Bruiser there, but if you look at what I've already done before this started, I have Bruiser and damage carry already. Reapers are team fight. Current day Reapers are team fighters. They're power Reapers though. They're very different to the Heart of Thorns Reapers, which were Condi Reapers, which were also team fighters. Reaper, if you the Paladin Reaper that I play, and I've been doing Game of the Day videos on and stuff, that is 1000% a team fighter. Is somewhere between Bruiser and DPS carry, but it's 1000% that. If you're not getting value from... If you get caught alone, you're dead. You rotate exactly like a Scourge, 100%. I think all Reaper varieties are exactly like that. What do you mean rotating the Firebrand and the Scourge? I mean that they exist as a pair, right? These two players, they pair off, they play together. If they get split up, it's like really bad. The Scourge takes action and moves to the nodes with the Firebrand supporting and following around. Meanwhile, they leave like their duelists on the nodes that they claim. They push the lines together, they create the lines. You have to be able, this pair, being able to play this is like really important. If you're going to field these 2 classes, you have to play them together well. Assassin was a good role. I think Assassin is a good swap for the Roma role, potentially. You can use that. But yeah, like, as far as the Guild Wars community is concerned, you've got Assassins from Guild Wars 1, so... And there's the Assassin Amulet in Guild Wars 2 as well, which is actually my main issue with it. There is no Duelist Amulet, there's no Roma Amulet, there's no Support Amulet, there's no Teamfight Amulet. Is there any way I can turn off the Nightfall theme? Yeah, but I'm not going to because I'll forget to turn it back on later. We're not going to have this scene on so much in the natural thing that it would look that bad. All right, give me some final thoughts, guys. After the whole discussion, what do we think? What does a Bruiser do? Bruisers are people that have high capacity to deal lots of damage in team fights, but aren't necessarily fucked the second they're alone. They have some sustain. They're sturdy damage pressure. Sturdy damage pressure. This is more like glass damage pressure. It's like sturdy versus glass kind of here. But glass isn't a good word either because that's suggestive of a lot of like volatile kill speeds that you won't get out of that anyway. How many more videos will there be in my story thing? You mean the Let's Play? Probably like a 130 episode long series. We're only about 15 episodes in, so a lot. Swap in the MS Paint version verbatim. Calling them DPS or damage? I thought damage wasn't good, though, because So, like this, yeah? You're not happy with any of the new suggestions, so keep it as it is for now? I mean, I'll take any excuse I can to keep this, because that means I don't have to do more work. This took me like 3 hours to build yesterday. I like it. In one way or another, I support the boxes, and the name thing is something that can be discussed forever. You will have to choose simply in the end. Alright, I'm going to straw poll, guys. I'm actually going to figure out. And this straw poll is not that I'm going to listen to the response. The straw poll is to see what the community thinks and figure out whether... how important this discussion is. So, I'm going to put 4 options on the straw poll. Keep as is. Okay, so exactly as it is there. MS Paint variant. What other suggestions did we have? Keep as is, but remove subcategories. Which, by the way, I don't see any point in. I don't know what's wrong with those. I think being able to distinguish between the 2 types of team fight is good to me. Or lastly, rename Team Fighter to something else. To... Or rename Team Fighter to Damage, but keep all else the same. Okay? So when you look at the straw poll, guys, please look back at the stream and be 100% clear of what you're voting for. Especially that last option. Please make sure you understand what I'm talking about with that last option. If you're going to vote, make sure you see what I mean with that. This is for pre-game lobbies, Coop. And post-game, actually. Forget option 5. Forget all this and focus on role-playing. Yeah, I'll be in the Salma district, guys. Man, I drink barely any of my coffee. This stream's been going for ages now, actually. As is, but just drop the word carry. What does blue home, red home mean? It means that the duelist, so on screen you can see, we are speculating at the start of the game that since the red team has 2 duelists, one will pick up their close, one will go far. Or will excel in that situation, okay? So we are speculating that they'll pick their duelist hollow up on their close node, red home, red player to red home, and that they'll send their avatar druids to far. Meanwhile, we're speculating that since they only have 1 duelist, the blue team are going to send their warrior to blue home to their close. So, based purely on matchups, we can speculate that we're going to have a warrior v druid 1v1 on the blue close. And in exchange, the blue team gets a stronger mid-fight because they have 3 players here. Which is most relevant for the opening splits, but then just the general thrust of the game as it goes forward. And again, these are not hard and fast. It's just like a bedrock of, you know, speculation we can do to then see how the game rolls out. Okay, let's see how the straw poll goes. Results. A lot of people saying keep as is. A lot of people saying MS Paint version. A lot of people saying just rename Team Fighter to Damage, but keep all else the same. People saying keep as is, but do... Oh, this isn't actually too helpful, is it? Aren't duelists more like point contesters? So can you call them contesters? I suppose, but why are you saying that? Like, we're not looking for feedback on that. do you prefer the term contesters to duelists? That's cool, but I think that duelists sounds way better than contesters. Contesters sounds way too, what's the word? Like pragmatic, like it's like overly like boringly descriptive. That's what I'm trying to say. No, I'm not trying to please everyone. I'm just trying to please the majority 65 kid. I think it is important at the outset to get it right. Conquerors. What? No, guys, we don't need a new term for duelists. We don't need a new term for duelist. Duelist is fine. There's no debate here. I'm not looking for debate. Duelist is fine. I'm settled on that shit. Duelist is good. Duelist is like one of the best, like in terms of clarity. Yeah, duelists and roamers do sound very RP. It's good. And supports. It's like nerds meeting role players here, really. It's like where the worlds cross. It would be cool to have like a flavorful term for team fight and support. Everyone fights on a node though, Derelict Snagkey. That's not a good term. For a bit of future proofing, if there might be semis and other things like this in future elite specs, I like the MS Paint version because you can place them a bit in between. How can I vote? You just click the link in chat and you go. Okay, I have another idea. What about... No, that's basically that, isn't it? Here's what I want, guys. I'm going to do an updated MS Paint version, okay? There's just one final thing I want some clarity on, okay? Okay. If we go for the MS Paint version... sorry, which is here. If we go for the MS Paint version, when we have the... I want the MS Paint... The thing I don't like about the MS Paint version is that we can't split the damage box into bruises and like glass anymore. I don't like the word glass, but then you have like a damage section within the damage box, right? You see where it says DPS carry in the damage, and I get you guys don't like carry anyway as a term. So like, what would we call that section? How would you describe a scourge? What's a word for scourge? If someone can find a good word for that, that would be perfect. I would do the MS Paint version immediately. We would look at that. I think that would resolve all the major criticism that we've had so far. But it can't just be damage, because you're having a damage section within a damage... But basically, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to find a way to distinguish between the two flavors of damage-oriented players. One of those flavors has some potential to peel for itself and some sturdiness and even to rotate into some jewels. Those would be the bruisers. The other flavor is like it's fucked if it's caught alone. That's like the scourge. That's like the crazy whopping damage, needs support to stay alive, rotates around with a scourge. There's two flavors of damage, okay? Bruiser, I think, is okay to describe one of them, but the DPS carry one, how do we change that? That is that is the last thing. Nuka? Cleaver? Trolls? I'm not calling it cancer, guys. I'm actually trying to take the game seriously. Have team fighters split into support, damage, and bruiser, each with their own box. So you're saying just add a third box? Ah. So you're saying have 5 boxes. The problem with 5 boxes is it starts to... 5 boxes makes it even harder to do the stacked boxes thing. So I don't want to do that. Glass cannon doesn't work because they're not actually always that squishy. Like a Scourge in a 1v1 at least. Oh, what do you guys think about glass? What do you, genuinely, what do you think about Bruiser and glass? What do you think about that? Do you think anyone would take issue with calling a Scourge glass? The problem, I don't like glass. No, I don't like glass because you'll find that actually a lot of roamers are glassy, but they wouldn't go in that box. Glass isn't good. I don't like glass. Glass doesn't work. It doesn't work because you would have like... No, it doesn't work. Basically, glass is a flavor. It doesn't... Yeah, and it also sort of means not meta. Like, Fresh Air LE would be, frankly, in my opinion, a roamer. It's not actually that good in team fights because it doesn't have much AoE potential. So it, like, +1s is just slow at doing it, and it's too glassy. And it has no stealth, so it's not meta. But, like, you could have a glass duelist, in theory, right? But it would just be a shit duelist. You could have a glass support. It would just be a shit support. So I don't think glass works. It's cleave versus burst? No, it's not cleave versus burst. No one in that damage section is burst. Roamer's a burst more than anything else. Why split them when you can cover that aspect in your commentary? Because that's like a perpetual thing that would have to happen forevermore. Or at the outset, you can find a good term, you know? The team fighter box around the other boxes is superfluous? No, it's not really, though, because it helps to distinguish that we're talking about team fight damage rather than dueling damage. Just keep DPS and drop carry. So how do we feel about that? Having a DPS section within the damage box. Oh, I've got an idea. I've just had an idea. What about this? We're going to do another thing. Stick with me, guys. This could get really good. What about this? Stick with me. Not that. What about... Oh, I don't even need to get rid of that, right? Oh, yeah, we will. Sorry that the stream's so shit while I'm building this. Oh, wait, no. And then we call this one this. I really don't like this term, though. Do people really not like the word carry? I don't know. Oh, I don't like it now. The second I've done it, I don't like it. I'll show you guys anyway. No! Oh my god, fucking paint is so bad. Keep the messages coming, guys. I'll read them in 1 second. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. All right, there you go. I've patched that up. It's pretty bad, but we got it. So it would be like this, okay? We call one box offense. We call one defense. And so all the supports... I mean, what about offense and support, right? So where it says defense there in blue, imagine that says support. What if we do that? And then there's 2 categories of offensive team fighters. There's damage and there's bruises. What do you think? Does that fix every issue? Does this now seem like weird? What do you guys think? Offense and support? What about the word offensive? That might be even better. Because we have... because it's not paired anyway, so you don't do... It makes sense. Yeah, that looks okay. And then obviously it would look pretty. Right, like... So finally, like that. That is kind of what I'm suggesting. So you got offensive... you got offensive team fighters... There's the damage-oriented ones. There's the bruisers. I don't know. Damage just sounds shit to me. This is the weirdest, shittiest stream I've ever done. I think you should remember drinking coffee. Yeah, well, coffee's cold. I'm drinking milk now instead. Feedback on this, guys? Feedback? I don't like it. For some reason, just looking at it, I'm not sure why, but my gut says I don't like it. So Mad Pie Man says, I still think having team fighters as a box with 3 subcategories. Yeah, you're basically suggesting... Oh, but the third box, dude, doesn't work. Visually, it doesn't work. Pressure instead of damage? Damage pressure? Have damage as a DPS. Yeah, I just don't like the word DPS. I guess that works, though. So if we change that to DPS... Because it's a DPS build, right? I think people from PvE would get that a bit better as well. No one's going to argue that Scourge isn't DPS. No one's going to argue that Rev isn't functioning as DPS in a team fight or whatever sometimes, right? Like... So this is the version that was just suggested. We're going to have to stop this soon, guys, as well. But yeah, that. DPS pressure. My final opinion is name team fighters to DPS or carry. You mean literally just keep everything, but change that to DPS. So you've got the DPS carry. I mean, that would be an easy change. Just changing that word up there to say damage. How many people really hate the word carry? How many people really don't like us using carry? Is it just Elodus? Is there one person? Have I got the wrong impression here? I thought carry was fine. Can people tell me in chat right now, very clearly, do you think that we can use the term carry in Guild Wars 2? Or is it too specific to the way MOBAs treat them? And people would, like, be put off of it? Tell me in chat right now. Carry is weird. I'm okay with carry. It's fine. I don't know what carry means. I don't like carry. Carry is weird to me. Carry is fine. Straw poll for carry. The latter, carry is fine. Carry is fine. Too specific. Carry is wrong. Carry is too MOBA-like. Carry work if you mean they are the only one doing damage. You are straight up copying MOBA names. I think you're more talented than that. Okay, first, I don't care about your estimation of me. Secondly, it's not like that's you're suggesting that isn't talent. Talent is finding the most understandable thing to broader gaming and bringing it over. Like, nobody cares about like, what the hell? Originality isn't the be all and end all. Welcome to the world. Carry is about a ramp. You carry until the point where you don't need to carry them. Okay, there's enough people saying it's weird that, okay, it's definitely weird. There's enough people saying it's weird that they don't like it. What do you guys think about the term raw DPS? Nah, that's shit. I don't want 2 words. This is a fun stream. Weird, but fun. Too raw. 24-hour terminology stream. Come on, guys. The monkey is itching to go. Look at that. He wants a banana. Feed the monkey the banana. Help us out here, guys. You think I could just eliminate the subcategories? Yeah, but they're not the same thing. Here's what I want to do. I want to rename Team Fighter to Damage, and I want to change the subcategory currently called DPS Carry. I don't want the term DPS because it feels so too gamey, and I don't like initialisms anyway. And I don't want Carry because you guys have a problem with it in chat. So I want to rename the top left box Team Fighters to Damage, and then I want something as a term to describe Scourge's role. That's it. We do that. We're going to reshuffle how the boxes are stacked. It's perfect. It's done. But we need that new term. This is like a terrible focus group. No, they're really good. Don't you be mean to mine and Bix audience here as we stare at user interface. Offensive pressure. But bruisers do offensive pressure too. I think bruiser is no. It's not. The point of this category is it's vulnerable while doing a lot of damage. It's not vulnerable to the point of being glass, and glass isn't a good term. To Treon Hilk with that amazing joke. Welcome to 10 minutes ago when everyone already made it. Scourge just needs its own box. Yeah, but it's not just Scourge. Based on the meta, you will find someone in that position. Categorizing around classes is a silly idea. It won't work. Show me your concept and I'll believe you, but I don't think it will work. The Team Fighter subcategories don't go well together at the moment. Damage, support, bruiser. Team Fighters. Damage, support, bruiser. The team fight. No. The 5-box idea is a thing as well. All right, we're doing one more MS Paint, guys. Here we go. One more MS Paint. The idea would be that it would look a bit like this. If I can get it working, but it's too much. It's too much. We essentially return to the 5 formal roles as Georges had interpreted, which would be good. We say there, we see damage. We say there for the support. We say there for the bruisers. We say, there for the duelist. And then lastly we say, there for the Roma. This is the 5-box idea that someone was putting forward in chat that I think, like, is okay-ish. But, And please excuse the like crappy design because it's obviously going to look a bit poo. But there, that. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. That. So you got damage, support, bruisers at the team fight, and then there are duelists and roamers as well. You could even remove the grey box if you really, really take issue with the idea that it excludes duelists from team fights when obviously they'll dip in sometimes. It's kind of sick that you created the first one you had in paint in only 3 hours. I didn't make it. What? Sorry, no, you're talking about this that I've made. I did not make that in paint. I made that in... actually, I used OBS to make a lot of it. I did not make that in paint. The thing is, it's a 16:9 aspect ratio, guys. What if you use 2 rows of 3 boxes and use the bottom left box for traits? That's a good idea, actually. That's a good idea. Basically, what you would have is... you'd have our screen would be like... You would go something like... I'm not going to color code them here, guys, because it just takes too long. But you'd go like damage, support, bruiser, it would be, so the screen, the eventual overlay would look something like this by having the 2 stacks. Maybe I'll just, oh, it's so much work though. I shouldn't be doing this. I gotta fucking do the audiobooks and stuff. I'm actually wasting so much time. But basically it'd be that. You would have, that would be what it looks like in the end. You'd have 2 columns of red, blue, red, blue. So it's not quite as good as having them all stacked up, but it would be something like that. You'd have the screen split into 3 boxes in the top half. But the problem was we didn't like the side-by-side boxes because it's not so easily ruled. The box typecasting. Oh my god. Another comment about the flexibility of classes. Yes, we know. You need a name that makes damage sound more dangerous. I really think that this is no longer valuable. I don't think we're really... I think we're going in circles. I think at this point it's probably time that I leave. But yeah, guys. I'll have a think about it. If you really have desperate feelings about this, give them to me now before the next stream. Because whatever I come at you with on the next stream is what we're going to end on. So if you have really desperate feelings, tell me and make your case. Because otherwise, what I say goes, basically. The only other person that I'll leave to open changing my mind are other casters as they decide that they want to settle on terminology and things. But yeah. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed. As for the actual cast itself, any feedback on that too, I'd love to hear. I'm glad you guys liked it, by the way. I'm glad you prefer this, and we'll see what we can do. Cheers, everyone. Catch you later.